Oh, I was jamming.
Here it is, everybody. The long-awaited laugh and learn about light language. Everybody, please welcome to Speaks, JJ. And we have Starseed Awakening, Karen. And I'm Tarot Stash. Everybody, fan thwarp with me. Celebrate.
Oh, I got nothing.
You got nothing. Don't
Where's
you
your bills?
Yeah. Where's your toll?
Your toll bills.
Oh, my bills.
Your bills. There you go. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you. And by the way, I just want everybody to know we see you, best chatters. We see you.
I found the best chatters. They're right here.
They are. And right now they're liking and subscribing because below are all of the links to our channels. So
that's so easy.
It is. It is. And you know, and then there we go. So all right. So we are, just so that you know, we are simulcasting this on all of our channels. So you won't see all of the chat. I will do my darndest to make sure that I capture everything. And because this is such an important and interesting, fascinating topic that needs to be talked about. Is that fair? Is that fair to say?
Yes.
We need to talk about this. I'm going to do a quick scan and say hello to everyone. Oh, you all were sipping, so I better join you. Hi, everybody in chat. Thank you for being here. And I'm going to scroll down quickly. There is a fan icon in there, Annie Bear. I do know where it is. So there's a shoe, there's a fan. Yep. Heather found it. Okay. Wayne Rich, hello. Annie Bear. Beth, Esposa Rising. Woohoo. Okay. Yeah, actually, I was doing that. We were backstage and we were going, what?
He was saying that you're the best chatters. Yeah.
And you're not letting me down, so this is good. No one goes in the naughty corner. No one knows in the naughty corner. White Wolf Mother, Linda Thompson, and we have Pia's Eclectic Life. Pia just got a great reading from you, JJ, and
that was fun. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. MK M. Okay. All right. So this is all right. Here you go. Ooh, wait a minute. Did I see trouble?
Is trouble here?
There is trouble.
Trouble is here. Trouble is here, but I'm glad trouble is here.
Trouble's gonna float. Just like trouble does.
Well, yeah, that's cool. Hi, Jonathan. Okay. So we are talking. Oh, I did see. Oh, Zane is here. Hello. And
hello.
Hi, Zane.
Hi.
Oh, I'm having some issues with my convalescing dog, so I won't be in chat much. Not being rude. He's asking to come on the couch, so I have to be vigilant. Okay. Yes. Bodhi's good with that. Oh, White Wolf Mother got their Robin Wood tarot deck or tarot book. We talked about Jonathan and I did readings with the Robin Wood tarot. So, okay. I'm gonna take a sip.
Yeah, I'm feeling the energy already.
Mm-hmm. And
I'm
so
heating up.
Yep.
It is.
I will do my best to keep up with chat. And again, and my dog is like moving my light. How helpful. How helpful she is. Okay, so light language. Who would like to answer this first? What is light language?
There you go.
I didn't know what light language was until it emerged, but I knew what channeling was because there's so many interesting channelers out there. even in our community. But the ones that I knew was they're called Oren and Debin, and I believe they're either from Washington or Northern California.
Mhm.
And they channel, but it was in English. And Karen and I do not channel the light language in English.
Okay.
Yeah, but I would say my light language, it came through all at once. I had to practice with it, but I would say for me, my light language is like I would say a sound healing, and it's custom for each person.
Okay.
Like a
Okay.
sound healing. Yeah.
I would agree. When I got mine, I was really confused and I didn't know what it was. And I think, and I meant to look up his name today, but there is a guy by the last name of Mirad or something like that. And he has an excellent video about light language and what that is. And he's like, one of the things that you've got to remember is who decided a tree was a tree. We gave it these words and we gave that, and he talks about, that light language is the language of the soul and only something a soul can understand. I would agree with JJ that, it's healing. It feels good doing it and putting it out there. And I have heard people say it sounds different to every single person. So it's sometimes, I've heard it sounds Indian. It sounds, what is that? Can't even think of the other, things that people have said, but it definitely sounds different to the person that's hearing it. So I try never to put it in a box, put it in something and try to figure it out, because I have found personally that the more I dig deeper into try to figuring it out, I almost cut it off. So I just accept it for what it is and just know that it's another way to channel.
So this then suggests something that the two of you have said is there's different forms of light language. Is that
many?
Is that fair?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Mhm.
okay. And
like you can see Jonathan Daly says, I have a secret confession. I often find myself singing in my light language, and it's less about the words and more about the frequency.
Mhm.
Other people in this community, their light language is artwork. Some is movement. And the ones that have a sound to them, they can sound so different. And there's some that I like when I'm listening to it, I can tell people what I'm feeling to help them. But then there's some light language I find online, not from this community, but online, that it's not my frequency, but it's for somebody else. Yeah.
I would definitely agree with that. And not only is it vibrational or tunes, or it's written, or it's in color, or it's hand gestures. I mean, sometimes mine comes with the hand movements, and I just can't help it. My hands just start going, and so it definitely is channeled. And I would agree. It doesn't have to look the same for everybody.
Mm-hmm. Well, and there, again, no one is surprised, but the best chatters are popping in questions. I'm highlighting them.
Awesome.
I'm going to try not to forget them, or to miss them. And I think so what it says to me is, okay, so is light language about frequency?
I feel like mine is.
Yeah, I feel like mine is too, because there are times where I'm saying words and all of a sudden I have to hold a note and I don't know why. And I sing in the shower really awesome, not in front of, not in front of people.
Oh, wait a minute, prove it.
And nope, not going to do it. And in my car, it's awesome. But then there have been times where all of a sudden a frequency comes in and I have to hold that tone or have to hold something. Don't mind the noise that it's about to happen. You know, my little river cat has decided that she wants things off of the windowsill. So just ignore everything that you hear over here.
Oh gosh. Okay.
She's just
okay. I love that. Okay. So I'm interested in, when did you come to know light language and how did it show up for each of you? There was some references, but I'm curious about that.
You can take this one first, Karen.
okay. So mine started March of 2020, which was around my 50th birthday. And it was, I would literally, I know JJ, my throat is like, whoo.
I'm getting all hot. So, okay.
Yeah, I'm sweating. I'm so sweaty.
It's getting hot. So I would literally, and this is kind of hard for me to admit because I am the type of person that whatever somebody's belief is somebody else's belief. I don't, at that moment in time, I don't know if I necessarily believed in aliens, but if they're there, they're there. You know, I mean, I didn't put too much thought process into it. And then I kept having every single night. It was like I would move because I was laying still for so long that my body would hurt. And I would literally wake up, sit up, look around and go, okay, I'm home. And I would lay back down. And I would forget all about it. And then one night, I literally was like, Karen, write it down. You're going to forget again. Write it down. And I grabbed my phone and I turned on my notes and I wrote something. I put my phone down, fell asleep, forgot all about it. Got up the next morning, started making coffee, as soon as I pushed that button on, all of a sudden this language started coming out of my mouth and I could not, like in my head, I thought, okay, I have now cracked. This is the moment where I have lost it.
Yes.
And so of course, you know, the person that I went to was Debbie, you know, Freebird Spirit. And I said, I think I'm losing it. Well, let me back up the story. Then in that moment of thinking I'm losing it, I remembered that I wrote something on my phone. So I ran up, grabbed my phone and started searching. And I wrote down intergalactic healing mode learned on ship.
I love this part.
Ooh. And then everything just
say it again. Say it again.
Intergalactic healing mode learned on ship. And so then I would start having visions of being in a spacecraft and them showing me the tunes and showing me on the frequencies and where to place my hands on individuals that I was working on. And that's when it hit me. I'm losing it. I'm cracking. I've now, you know, now I'm considered nuts. And so I grabbed my phone. I immediately called Debbie. And I was like, I don't know who to talk to about this. And I need some spiritual guidance. And she goes, oh, that's easy. You know, you got light language and I'll hook you up with JJ. And that is how JJ came into my life.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. Oh, you got light language. Let me hook you up with JJ. You'll be fine.
Yeah, it was like,
No, Debbie's awesome. One time I told Debbie I was trying to do what is it, automatic writing, and it was just a bunch of gibberish. She's like, oh, I read that. Let me see it. And she's like, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, how do you know that?
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, what about you, JJ?
With me, I had my language came through December 2014. So I did the math on my calculator because I'm terrible at math, and that comes to 9 years. And so when my language came through, thank God I was with my husband, because that would have been tricky to explain. But he was with me. We were on the spiritual retreat, which wasn't his cup of tea. He's more of a warrior than an empath type thing. But so he was with me. We were on this retreat in Sedona, which was one of my favorite places and retreats to go to. I've been to many of them there with the same people. And the person running it, Carissa Schumacher, said, I think you should go see Adele, who is the light worker for the retreat. And I went to Adele. I was on the table. She was doing some energy work, and she got up to where my heart was. And there was I had been working with a past life with a Trail of Tears, and I was just crying and crying. And I had heart issues with this for about a year at this point. And so I was just crying and crying. And she's like, you just need to let go of your grief, because your people are coming back. Your people, your group, they're coming back. Your tribe is coming back. And they don't want you to be sad. They want you to like be joyful and grateful that we're all going to be together again. And so I saw that Keening woman, the Keening Native American, and I released it. And as soon as I released it from my heart space, they were holding on to me. Like my husband had to come over and hold on to me on the table. And I just I arched up, and I'm like, this language came out in a song. And I was like, oh my God, this is like, what is it? The Fifth Element, where that lady's talking. Yeah. And I'm like, oh my God, what is this? And then, so this language is coming out. I put my hand on my husband's lower back. I put my other hand on Adele Sand's back, and I'm looking up at them, and they're like crying. I've never seen my husband cry ever. And then from that moment on, I was just practicing, and I had a really good community to go back to say, hey, I need some support. This thing came through. And that's how I knew it was a healing language.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it was a weird night, let me tell you.
Yeah.
I didn't sleep much.
Well, I can't imagine that you would have after that much power and energy coming through.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But I'm glad I did the work up to that. And I think Karen as well had a really good background with your spiritual journey as well, right? And you had a community,
Yeah,
Karen. You had like Debbie, yeah.
Yeah, I think had I not had the community that I did, I really would have been thinking I lost it, and Debbie always says it best when she was like, what is it, the channeling that you're getting? Is it loving? Is it caring? Because I know it can feel like you're losing your mind sometimes when you're going through these spiritual awakenings. And, she always says that as long as it's loving and kind, because that's the way it should be. It should be loving and kind, and it shouldn't be anything that's negative or downplaying you. But if I wouldn't have had the community, I think I would have felt a little lost with all of it, Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And not only was it what that day was so intense energy wise, but then every time I looked, because I used to live really close to Garden of the Gods, and I couldn't even look at the mountain without seeing other things on it. And then I had to send my light language to the mountain, or send my light language to specific areas in the earth. And then it came out, then it came to specific people, but it just kept pouring out. And I didn't want anybody to think I was a weirdo. So I would just kind of shut up and wouldn't say it. And it would just, I just couldn't help it. It would just brah. And there was no controlling it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. But I did have really good people that understood and were like, yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. And I'm like, okay, I don't know what's going to happen, but here we go.
Yeah. What were you going to say, JJ?
Nothing.
Okay.
I'm going to say lots of things because it's like the most, I'm just like, yeah. And then this, that. It's like, there's so much to talk about. There's just so much so much to talk about.
Well,
And
if this needs to be more than one episode, we can absolutely do that. I would be happy to help facilitate that. So, but and I would say listening to the two of you and your stories and your experiences it's one of those things. It's discombobulating because it's something new. It's comforting because it's something familiar.
Yes.
It's something invigorating because it's so energetic. And it's like many things, all of those can exist at once. And if we don't have that support and those family, the friends, the spiritual communities to say, yes, I believe you.
Yeah.
I mean, that is foundational, I think.
I mean, just for humans, I believe you. I believe you. You know, how that just makes like a human feel when somebody's just like, I hear you. That's all they need to do is say, I don't understand, or I don't, maybe I don't believe in the same things as you, but I hear what you're saying. I hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
Well, and it's like I said this to both of you backstage. Well, I may have said this to Karen last week. I'm like, I don't believe I have light language per se. And that's okay. It doesn't make me any less or any different. It just makes me me, and it makes you. And so anyhow.
We were just talking about this. It was Annie Ritchie, who's Richie's Reach, and Annie is Annie Bear 7F for Seven Feathers. We were just talking about this on the spiritual journey because everybody has a different spiritual journey.
Yes.
And it blows me away how different, but like how when people like when everybody's doing their own special thing, it feels like home. It feels great.
Well, yes. And it's like that idea Kevin is saying here. It's like, I see you. I mean, that's significant. That is very significant. And Annie loved the show very much.
Yeah, it was it was like, when they say chicken soup for the soul.
Oh yeah.
That's what it felt great.
And I have to point out that the best chatters are flipping between channels and leaving comments. So thank you all.
Yay.
Yes.
There are 53 people watching right now.
Nice.
So this is wonderful. Thank you. I want to and Heather said that was such an amazing show yesterday.
Yeah.
So
powerful. Yeah.
Yep. And here you go. Your stories have given me chicken skin.
Yeah, me too. I'm like hot, but I have goosebumps everywhere. It's so weird.
So, and so Oil Painter is here, also known as Wonder Woman or Diana. So anyhow, well, thank you, Laura. That's nice. I'm an amazing facilitator. Hey, we'll do this as much as we talk, because people need to hear about this stuff.
Yeah.
People need, let me rephrase that. I would like people to have an opportunity to hear it if they want to, because, I mean, that makes big sense. Go ahead.
And I think that in the time that we are right now with this, the veil just continues. The way that they show me is the veil just continues to get smaller and smaller. And the way my guides show me is it's almost like this is going to be kind of gross to say, but when a woman is giving birth and it's getting thinner, they're not giving me the word for it, but it keeps thinning and thinning and thinning until the water breaks, basically. And that's what they're showing me, is the veil is thinning and thinning and thinning. And so some people are going to step into these things. You're going to get different gifts. And I want to go back to what you said, Gerald, when you were like, well, I don't have this. And that is true. We each have our own gifts, and, we're each unique, and we're each wonderful. And I think that is something that in the community, some people have a hard tendency to just go, I'm me, I wish I could have I really wish I could have a blinky eye thing like JJ does, but I don't, you know, um,
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't have the blinky eye thing, but I'm glad that I was blessed to have it, and I'm glad for everybody that has their own personal thing specific to them, their talent, their gift, and it could be just standing in your own power.
Oh, this is interesting.
Yeah. Quilting Babe Suzanne Rich said, when we met with Karen back in May, she did a healing on me. I heard and felt her light language slightly differently than over the TV.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah. And
That's true. We were just in Colorado. Karen, Lisa, Smith, and Debbie, who lives, well, everybody has a connection to Colorado. But we were able to do, everybody shared well, I don't know if Lisa has one, but we were all sharing energy healing with one another. And it is a little different when you're in person.
mhm.
Yeah.
And it was funny because at one point, I don't want to share too much. Me personally, because it was just, to me, it was so private. But at one point, there was a point where JJ actually thought that my hands were on her and I was the one that was doing the language. And I was not even next to her. I was sitting down and just holding space and doing my light language and surrounding this bubble kind of thing around us. And that is what my guides asked me to do. And then when she opened her eyes, she was like, "Oh my God, it wasn't you." And I'm like, "Nope, it wasn't me." Nope.
Yeah.
But that's how I was receiving it. Like it was your language. It was familiar to me. And I was like, oh, that must be Karen.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's a comfort level about that, isn't there?
There is.
That part of that community. So, and that experience. So, okay. Okay. 61 of the best chatters are here. I love it. Thank you.
Hi,
And
everybody.
yes. And, so just everybody,
for you.
JJ of tutospeaks.com. We have Karen, Starseed Awakening, 1111. I'm Tarot Stash. I am your troublemaker. So,
and together we make up Learn and Laugh About Light Language.
we make laugh and learn about light language. I might just say this is part 1.
I agree.
Right now, I have 19 comments starred that I want to reference. So, and
I do want to talk about. It was something either you and Karen had just pointed out that the thing that I love about light language when it's like spoken, I guess it's with written in art as well, but it's a different way to like receive something. Like when Karen is speaking her light language, like my body will react. Like tears might come, laughter might come, but it's one of these things where I could sit and talk to somebody for maybe a half an hour to get to that point. But when the light language takes a shortcut right to the heart and to what matters, like you can do like a healing in 15 minutes and it could be somebody that, I mean, I know Karen, but I kind of feel like if the language came out with a stranger, it would be quite healing right off the bat.
okay, so I want to take a moment, and so light language take multiple forms.
Yeah.
Actual vocal spoken, singing, sound, music, movement,
Writing,
reading, color, artwork.
Yeah.
Are there other ways that
symbols? Symbols, definitely symbols.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this, and this is, everybody in chat, just wait a second, because I had sort of a realization. So I am trusting that I have been doing Akashic reading stuff for a very long time. And the way I read Akashic records is this symbols lift off of the pages. Is that light language?
Oh, atopama ushtatanama kotanama ushama yeta yeta yeta. Yes.
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 Okay. I love it. I love it. JJ's been holding off on letting this language out. And that deserves a fanthwork.
They're like right on. Yes.
Okay. And Karen's like, yes.
Before you ask that, so there's times that people don't know, like when my mouth is moving, it's because the light language is coming out. Yes. And I can't, I don't, there's a reason that it needs to come out. So I just am, quiet. So before you ask that question, I literally was like, Uma ata ishene ikna ata ata ata. And then you asked that, and then I was like, yep. Yeah. So, but if you ever see my mouth move and there's no voice, that's why, because they're asking me to do that. And they're asking me to send out the language, but I don't know who it's for or why, so I do it.
Yeah, I'm getting like a wash of like understanding like tears. Like Aquarius builders, like, oh my God, symbols. I get so much information from them. And Gerald, when you were talking about how the symbols lift up, it reminded me of, I think it was Michael Tellinger. I saw this thing he was doing where he was talking about resonance, and it was, I don't know if it was pieces of sand or something.
Sand.
But yeah, there was like this specific thing, and it's like the noise and the sound, the resonance, the frequency, and it's just like they changed into like a mandala, and that reminded me of what you were saying. It's almost as if the things come up, like Iron Man, when he's like, yeah, let me look at it from this way. Let me look, how he has like the computer in the air. It's like, it's similar to that. You're Iron Man.
Yeah.
I actually have a T-shirt that has an iron on it, and it is my Iron Man T-shirt. Mm-hmm. Oh, I've just made JJ chill.
Iron. I love it.
Just sorry about that. So
I'm gonna snarf my tea.
Oh, that could be a word of the, but It is one of those interesting things, because as I'm reading those languages and those symbols as they come up, if a different question is asked, the symbols change.
Wow.
Yes. What did you see, JJ?
Wait, what? What was the question?
You're looking at the chat, it looks like. Or
I am. I'm looking at the chat, and Eliza was saying the sound vibrations of sand on a metal plate changes as the tones do. But then I was looking at Hawaiian guy, Jonathan. Jonathan was saying that he's private with his light language, and almost never it doesn't come out for others. And I have to say, like, that's okay. Because, like, again, with Michael Tellinger in the frequency, it's like sound can travel. Like, I think they're still trying to figure out how fast. Well, maybe not. Maybe they figured it out, but it's just, if you're doing it in your car, you are making a difference. If you're doing it at the beach, near the water, in the shower, it's like, I feel like you are. But also just know that there's people, like, especially in this community, where you can say, oh, hey, something that's a little different happened, and I have this language, and it can sound like birds. It can sound like whales. Some of it, people want to do in private because it's, yeah.
And I would say, on that, there's a lot of light language on, and JJ kind of tapped into this when we first started. There's a lot of light language on YouTube and stuff like that. And I would say, go with what resonates with your soul.
Yeah.
Because there's one that was almost like clicking, like clicking you would hear from a cricket or something like that, like little insects. That does not resonate with me. I can't hear that one. It's not mine. So if you plan to go and check it out, just remember that, it just because it does not resonate with you, does
Mhm.
not mean that it's not for someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And-
I love speaking it in nature. It feels like giving and receiving at the same time. It's beautiful.
Well, and I think that idea of doing it in your car, and JJ, you said that that's still that is important.
Oh,
And
so
I also,
important.
yeah, and I also think that anytime individuals are their authentic self and they allow that expression to come through, that level of vibration makes a difference.
Mm-hmm.
We may not
Yeah.
know how it does.
Yeah.
It does. It does.
Yeah. We don't need to know, but it does. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, what was I just gonna say? Um, shoot. I do know with mine. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. The spiritual 2x4s. I'm not sure, Gerald, if this is do you know about spiritual 2x4s?
Oh yes, the ones where all of a sudden it's like smack upside the head.
Yeah,
And
if you're not paying
oh,
attention and spirit is just like, oh, I think I'll give you a heart issue, JJ. Let's send you to the ER. Yeah.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
something
Yeah,
to
so
get my
sing it.
attention. Yeah,
Speak it to nature.
yeah.
Draw what you want to draw, even if it's a scribble. I mean, come on.
And on
Scribble.
that note, and on that note, the thing is that spirit is going to give you something. If you receive it and you take it in and use it, you get more of it.
Yeah.
And and it could be the smallest of things, but I would say if you're going to scribble, if you're going to draw, if you're going to color, if you're going to sing, if you're going to do whatever, if you try not to be like, oh, like I did at first, oh my God, I'm going crazy. And had I blocked it, I would imagine it probably would have stopped for me, and so that's one thing that I've learned is they give us gifts. And if you're not going to receive that gift, they're only going to give it to you so much. And sometimes you can block it and stop it.
Yeah.
So write it down, do it.
Well, and I think it's an important thing to write it down. You don't have to understand it. Just get it out of here and here so that it can exist.
Mm-hmm.
Then there is an ability for you to, when my physical body catches up to that vibrational body, I can actually go, oh, well, I misspelled that one, and or that's a nice variation of that word, sort of thing, because that's how I interact with myself. So it's
Yeah, and we love to second guess ourselves too. It's like that's what's kind of cool when you do it in the car. There's no really second guessing when you're by yourself in the car or out in nature. You're just being who. Yeah.
I love this.
I love
Laura, I'm amazed by singing bowls. Some I can play, some I can't. And it's funny. I went to a one of those light expo things, and I saw a singing bowl, and I'm looking. Oh, I've never seen one of these. And the guy came up and he says, "Would you like me to show you how to play it?" And I'd never seen one before. I actually got it to work like immediately.
Nice.
And the guy was like, okay. So, okay. I'm going to take a breath, and then I'm going to try to get through some of these starred comments. So, if either of you have things to add, please let me know. Okay. Okay. Valerie asks, how can you use your feeling grief, for example? Would either of you be willing to chat about that?
Yeah.
Go ahead, JJ. You can start.
I remember when I returned home from when it emerged, I was already part of like this healing community where we would have circles, and some of these students of this little but powerful school, we would get together, and the public would come in and we would work on them. And the first time I used the language, I sat by someone's feet, this female, and I put my hand on her foot, and the language came out, and she started crying. And I think it's the same with music, with even if somebody loves to move or dance or yoga, it's just one of these like the language is an opener for it. It's like maybe you didn't know you needed to cry, but then all of a sudden you are when you hear it. Either like I get that way with sound bowls too. Yeah.
I would agree. For when I touch someone, and I'm doing it, I kind of take on what they're feeling. And so we could both be kind of crying or something like that. And, but it does, I would agree 100%, JJ. I mean, it does feel like it opens things up. And if you were, for instance, Valerie, if you were looking to use light language to release grief, one of the things that, you got to be able to actually release it. And it's funny because they show me like light language is only good if you're not standing on the other side of the door holding the door closed. You've got to be at a point where you're really willing to let go of that and give that up. So
Yeah. Okay. I think it's so. I'm just gonna guess the idea of using it for healing and for grief. I think it's good in conjunction with what we can do for grieving. We can go to a group. We can journal about it. I think it just does a nice augmentation of that. It supports us at a core vibration level.
yes,
I like that.
So, yeah, crying is also a release of energy you might not have noticed that you were holding on to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Valerie. Are there techniques to open yourself up to discover your own light language?
One of the things that I did personally is I started journaling, and I was specifically trying to do automatic writing. And so I would sit with a piece of paper and a pencil, and I would ask myself, what does my soul have for me today? And I literally would just sit in meditation with that. What does my soul want me to know today? What does my soul have for me today? And I just let whatever came out in writing write. That kind of opened me up more to channeling itself, and so that kind of helped me with the automatic writing and just kind of getting into that space, because it's a different, I mean, now it's kind of honed in together, but at that time it felt different to me. So I had a hard time channeling that because my brain was getting stuck. But once I, did it, I kind of came at it, they're saying through the side door, which I needed to have a different way to connect to spirit. So that's why I used the automatic writing. And then I was able to, my brain could process, I could accept it more. So that's what I used.
Yeah. One thing I would add to that is that it's one of those things where, when if you're, lucky nowadays to be around like-minded people physically. I mean, it can happen here too online. But it's like sometimes when you're energetically around somebody, it's almost as if you awaken it in other people. Because I've been places, and a lot of times these are people who have been working on their spiritual path, and I won't even be paying attention. I'll just be walking along and I'll be speaking or singing in my language. And then somebody will come up to me next to me and they're just like, oh my gosh, that is so beautiful. And I was singing at the same time, but I don't know what this language is. And so it's like, that's kind of why It's good that some people in the community are sharing their light language, whether it's Heather with her art, Annie with her poetry. It's like it sparks, it just helps spark something in other people. That's what I would say.
I also think that, again, do I have a light language? Stay tuned. But yes, but anyhow, in looking at Lisa's thoughtful question is I think
Yeah.
part of it is practice, 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 be open and don't deny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And only you need to understand it. Everybody else doesn't have to understand it,
Mm-hmm.
because
Yeah.
it's so very important. It's so unique.
Mm-hmm.
How many people are there? That's how many different light languages there can be. Oh, that's an interesting question. Is
Mhm.
do people have more than one type of light language?
I do. The more I practice and the more I travel around, or even like the more people I connect with, like in this community, I will speak in a different language when there's different people that show up to receive. Like it's kind of
Hmm.
custom, but I have been like driving somewhere and I need to pull over and do a little ceremony. And then I realize, oh, okay, well, this is a different dialect of the language. So,
Okay.
yeah, so mine changes.
Yeah, mine definitely does. And
Mhm.
so, mine came from my star family. And so there's several different dialects on there, and some that are, that I have to use the hand movements for and not the words, because they don't speak like that. It's the best way. It's the movement of the air that it's a weird kind of to explain it, but it's just the frequency of that I have to send out, not necessarily heard though.
Yeah,
So there is definitely different dialects.
I would think so.
Yeah.
What are you thinking, JJ? It looks like I get the feeling that you're wanting to say more.
Yeah, well, I keep looking over and like Heather with Indigo Jaguar Intuitive Arts, she was asking, is light language the true language of our soul in its purest form? And that goes a little bit further because when I was working with my people, I said, "What can I call you?" And they said "tuta," which meant more than one. And they were my teachers. They were going to teach me how to use this language, and it's like in my what they do a lot is they remind people of home, wherever that is for whoever's hearing it. But they also talk about this inner seed, like our very beginning, our home. Um, And I feel like people out there, how you can be like with a group of people, but you still feel lonely.
Mhm.
It's one of those things where like your inner seed is like trying to find the other people. And so the language or whatever it is that people like their true authentic self, it's like the more that you can have the people around you that support you being your true authentic self, I feel like you do get to like your inner teacher, your like your inner seed's purpose. um I don't know, sometimes it's easier, but then some people have to go through what is it called, Karen, the dark
The
night of
dark
the.
night of the soul.
Yeah, so it's all about the seeds. Sometimes it takes fire, sometimes it just takes the right soil. I don't know.
Kevin
But I would,
Lewis
yeah.
Kevin Lewis said, light language is a way to communicate soul to soul and also on a cellular DNA level.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would agree.
Yeah.
And tutor, teacher.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go. And that also goes back to something Heather was asking. Are each of our light languages the true language of our soul in its purest form?
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Yes.
the one I was talking about. It's like, I think our purest form is, from the way I understand it, is that inner seed, our very beginning.
Mhm.
Whether that's the stardust or however it is, everybody comes to that information. But again, I think everybody has a true language of the soul. I'm not sure if it's just light language. I think it's just being your true authentic self, which
would
isn't
agree.
so easy sometimes. Yeah.
And I like this. Tuta means everything in Italian.
Yeah, see, this is a problem I have when the language comes out. I'm like, oh, I wonder if that's a real word. The way I spell it is so different than how somebody else would spell it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right. We are at 51 minutes. Would you like me to whip through the start comments? You want to finish up the questions? What would the two of you like me to do?
I know that there is some throat stuff that I feel like we end on a healing. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
You want to go ahead and start that?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Because it started as soon as we started talking about this, we both went to our throats.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
So what can I do to help you?
Hold space.
Mm-hmm.
Tapano tano ka tano pa. Pako tamama ishemawa yewa. Ka ona tano tita ye tanama. Ye tanama. Ye tao shemawa kuna tama shema yewa. Ayeta ayetama.
Umbratu ekne essene atama awe, aknu ofsono opra asane et makatu makata ishene et ututa ashene rok. Tuwe atuwe eme eknek eshene o at eme et.
Yeah, there's some tears as well. Kumato kanoe yena tano ka pa mayewa, and I see them. They're trying to take this protective layer off. Pano ta, and they say thank you for this protective layer for what it represents and what it did for us. Tano ta pako yawa no ta, but if it's for our best and highest good at this time, yetano tana. How about we try to loosen that protection up with some sound therapy. Ka tano shtita, to remove the protection. Kotano ka tanoi nam yama shimama yen mama wa shimawa tanoi nama nao shewa ota, and then you take a breath and release pakokana. Katoka. Yeah, it's okay now. In this lifetime, it's okay now. Before it might have been scary, but it's okay now. Yeah, it's okay. Tama o tana, little steps. Kiama o ka ayewa.
Akna atuta apa esene ete.
You know, and one thing that Richie from Richie's Reach taught me is that sometimes, you know, people will get lightheaded when we're doing these things anywhere, whether it's tarot reading or whatever, just connecting with spirit. And so once we release these protections, you can always ask for like right now, just imagine like something that was there for a while, this protection. Sometimes like the skin can attach. So if it feels vulnerable or like a sore throat, or if you feel dizzy, not grounded, one thing I do is I ask the grandmothers for like a healing salve. And you just put your hands up and say, Kuna patota, grandmothers, katotan creator, panutanuka. My ancestors, my team. Some people have animals. Ask them for this, the healing kotanoka, because we did a good job releasing and starting kotanoka, kitana. Just ask them to put the healing on it, the healing salve, and make sure you drink water. Take care of yourselves. There's a grieving process when you get rid of a protection.
Most definitely.
Yeah, see, Laura says headaches come. Yeah, sometimes that happens to me too.
Yeah, Laura said earlier that when she cries, she gets migraines.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, sometimes I need to just put myself under the blankets for a little while or take an Epsom salt bath or feet on grass, There's
mhm.
sometimes you just let it flow, how it's going to happen.
So let me. I want to share with the two of you and everybody who's
Mm-hmm.
watching, as you were both using your light language. I was actually in records, and I was seeing for everyone a collective record and a collective symbol, and I was taking the sides of that symbol and like unlocking little bits of. How sometimes when something gets secured and there's these little knobs that
Yeah.
on it. So I was undoing some of those knobs. I was not able to do all of them. Some of them are there for other purposes.
Yeah.
So it's this idea of it's just like, okay, this is what they want me to do. So
Yeah, that makes me cry. Thank you.
you're welcome. It's like,
Yeah.
woo.
Oof.
So
I'm glad
thank
we got that out of the way.
yeah.
We're all
Yeah.
just lying. We're like, it's hot in here.
Let's just all be emotional and
It's like, woo.
yes. And Kevin Lewis, can you please bring back the healing light? And
Yes.
Gerald can come do his symbols when we do the healing light.
Okay. Yes, I don't know what that means, but yes.
Oh, the healing light. Kevin Lewis had this epiphany, the healing medium, and he just invites different types of modalities, and we don't even speak. We are all muted. He plays some music, and we all do our own energy healing, and it's crazy because it's like I feel like I'm working on like a certain group and somebody else is working on a certain group. So it's like the more healers that we have, different modalities that come in, the more
I would
helpful it is.
so love to be a part of that. That sounds
Yeah. I'm looking at and of course the best chatters are actually sharing some of their experiences while you were doing the healing. So it was really incredible.
Yes. That's what I'm saying, Jonathan. Like when Karen speaks her language, it's impossible for me not to like have a I don't even know if reaction is the right word. As my body moves, it's like my language comes out. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And every time JJ does hers, it's almost like there's something on my end. There's almost something that becomes unlocked, or, it's just the space that I am currently in about working on myself and working on a lot of shadow work and a lot of things that I'm going through right now. And so, when JJ speaks, it's just this kind of, oh yeah, you forgot this too, and it's kind of brought up to the surface, but there definitely is, her language makes me realize things within myself. So it's very healing to me as well.
Yeah, and if people have more questions, you know, about light language, you can reach out, you know, to myself. My email's tutaspeaks@gmail.com. Yeah, you can reach me through my website as well.
Yeah, mine too.
Links
Yeah.
are below. So yeah.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, and it comes in many different forms. So, yeah.
mhm.
Awesome.
And Richie said, when I hear Karen's light language, I feel I get teleported to a different place. So,
Yeah.
Awesome.
and Amanda Carroll said, I feel a nice solar plexus opening and softness.
Yeah.
Well, and they were like, you're going to sing today. And I'm like, really? Because I still got this cold thing going on. You know, you sure you want to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you could, can you sing us out? Because I'm getting pressure in my temple. Can you do like a little healing thing?
Atua ene ekne eshene uta. Atawetu pranahe atua emeu atawe utabana hetewe. Okay.
Thanks, everybody. We will say good night and good day. And I think we're going to have to schedule at least a part 2.
Yeah, I would agree.
Agreed.
All righty. Bye.